Tim.
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Off the Bench Crew and podcast. Coming to you on a Sunday evening. We're recording this. We'll put it up later on. And I hope everyone had some really good scores and had a great Supercoach weekend out there. Alrighty-go. So, how did we go? We've got Ross and Timmy here tonight. How did we go, Ross? How did you go this week?
A bit of a mixed bag this week. I mean, I got a 1260, which is not bad, I think, for this round. But I hit the panic button on last night when I was at the South Tigers game and traded out Brendan Hands to Jaden Sullivan, who got sin binned and then got hooked by someone who's about to get hooked permanently in a couple of weeks, I reckon. And did bring him back on. He updated to 3 points, so cheers up for that for the scorers. I appreciate that. And then what else did I do? Jesus Christ, I've forgotten what else I did. Oh yeah, I had to trade because I did that move. I had to trade someone out to bring another centre wing or another position in because Talakai was out. And if I didn't have Talakai, I would have only had 16. And spoke to Tim about this earlier, and I said, "Do I take the hit or do I not?" Well, guess what? I didn't take the hit. I used my last boost. And I went Talakai to Lachlan Miller, which didn't work out to be too bad in the end.
Who did I suggest though?
I don't know. Was it Lachlan Miller? I can't remember.
Katoa?
Oh yeah. Do we have to? He did actually mention that.
Oh, what would I know?
Oh jeez. But yeah, look. Other than that, look, I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully, I can move a bit closer to the top 1,000. But 22 trades now, no boost. Pretty set for 13, so gonna need to conserve some trades soon.
Well, talking about conserving trades, we know that Timmy, you did a deliberate ploy to try to conserve some trades this week, despite the fact you were missing a few big outs with Moses. And did you also have Jeremy Marshall King?
Yeah, I lost Ford, Marshall King, and Moses, and then Connolly Lemuela, who had the bye as well. So yeah, basically 4 guys that I had in my starting team last week were missing this week, but that's the way it goes sometimes. It's I'm well set up for 13. I didn't want to spoil that. So yeah, the short version is I had an 11.48 for this round. I knew I was going to be down on points, but I just copped it on the chin as it was anyway. So got 27 trades. I've used my last boost last week to bring Moses in, which was even more annoying. But anyway, that's the way Supercoach goes sometimes. So yeah, 11.48 this week. I've got no doubt I'll lose a few spots. I'm probably 100 points under par, I reckon, which is going to hurt. But hopefully saving the trades in the long run is a good thing. There seems to be a lot of people out there that are already on 22, 23 trades. So if I've saved enough trades up till now, I think this is the 4th or 5th round so far that I haven't used all my points, all my trades. So fingers crossed it pays off in the long run.
Oh, well, actually, I don't think that's such a bad score. I think you've done actually pretty well considering the unfortunates that you had out and the Moses dilemma. You know, that's just luck for you. Supercoaches like that. I got 13.08 at the moment. I think Guy's on 13.11, so he's 3 points ahead of me. But I had a sack playing today, so hopefully the updates are kind to me, and I'll zip past him. I don't want him to have bragging rights on me. He's gonna. G'day, big shout out to Guy out there. Thank you, Guy. He's stepping out tonight and not having he's having a quiet night at home. For me, my probably believe it or not, my centers went well without a cracking 100. I didn't crack 100 anywhere, but Marzu, Holmes, Garrick, and unbelievably Sully. I also played Silly Sully and Katoa. The 5 of them all scored very well, so I wasn't, upset with any of those sort of plays. So without getting a huge score, I just trod water. 13.08. It's going to be a bit over par, but that's just the way it goes, I guess. I really would love to see one.
There wasn't too many tons this week either, and the ones that did go big weren't highly owned at all, like Sorensen and
Yeah, there were
there wasn't many.
5 tons all up.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. I mean, a lot of them would have been on feeder.
Yep.
But I don't know who else there was that turned up that wasn't probably highly owned either. I can't imagine there would have been that. Well, he wouldn't have been highly owned either.
No.
He'd be Uber pod, that one.
Yeah, well, there was the tons this week all belonged. The high points. Here we go. Sorensen, Luai, obviously he's played him. Some people are saying he played himself back in the state of origin. I'm not so sure about that. Tane Milne and Uberpod for anybody wanting to, he's probably going to rise around 440, I'd say, by this week. Helam Lukey, and even more of an Uberpod, one that, mind you, that myself and a few other people were actually talking about and considering. And then David Fafita, and that's it. That's your tons. I think there's about 9 players in their 90s, though. Just one of those sort of steady weeks. Including the wonderful Ruben Garrick. Thanks, Rubes.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Like I said, for the stock that I had out, it's interesting because the guys that I probably would have played and then the guys I would have sat probably wouldn't have necessarily got me any better score. Like I ended up playing Taruva, I played Cam Pereira, which sadly I think he's nearly at a point where he's just a play each week. I think he keeps scoring tries and he seems to be scoring 60s and 70s now for fun, although he hasn't bashed out a big ton, but he just seems to score tries. Admittedly, he was one of the later ones in the game, but tries are tries. So Taruva scored okay. I played Will Warbrick as well. So I actually played 6 centre wings this week. And I think, the worst one was Manu. So at his 28 or 29, whatever it was, I think the rest of mine averaged about 70. So it's,
I just want to say
an interesting round.
I just want to say shout out to Ruben Garrick too. I mean, for those who own him, I mean, he's just been absolutely killing it in a side that's been getting demolished the last couple of weeks. I mean, I bought him 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, like you, Timmy, at 770K. He's now down to about 500 and something. I don't know if he will be now, but he's just, mate, unbelievable in a losing team. So, for those who have got him, well done. I mean, he'll be good. He'll be very handy for the buyers too. That's for sure. So,
I'm still holding hope that he gets some time at fullback over Origin. If Teddy doesn't make it, doesn't get here. I can't see Teddy backing up in any games if he's playing Origin. But if he makes the New South Wales Origin team, then
Teddy or Turbo.
Turbo. I mean, not Teddy. I'm sure. I think both of them on form at the moment probably don't deserve to play, but I think they'll both be there pretty safely. So, it's I don't know. I'm holding hope that Ruben Garrick gets some time at fullback over the next 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, coming up next week, we've got a stack of absolute cracking games again. I think to kick it off on the Thursday night, we've got the Broncos versus Penrith. That was that next week. Yeah. Penrith versus the Broncos next week, next Thursday night. That's going to be an absolute juicy affair. Just while I'm at it, I mean, news has come to hand tonight. Have we all seen a bit of the news in regarding the Haas family?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right. So my thoughts do go out to. I'll just do a quick shout out. My thoughts do go out to the family. I'm not really sure yet what's going to transpire there, but there appears to be some tragic events have taken place around the family. So that might put some question marks on Payne Haas for next week, at the very least. Reece Walsh, he got a 67. What are we thinking, guys? I think he's a hold now. If you haven't sold him, I personally think, and I'm actually got an article coming up about this, but at the present time, until we know what's happening with Origin, I think he's definitely a hold.
I think he definitely is. Oh, sorry. No.
I'm contemplating on trading him back in, flicking Teddy and going back to Walsh. As much as I'd like to see him in a Queensland jumper, the way KP's played the last couple of weeks, I'm not convinced. I thought it was fairly safe that Walsh should pick up the number 1 and KP might give it a bit of a berth this year, wide berth. But no, I think the way he's playing at the moment, I think he's busting his ass to get back into his number 1 jumper. And at which point, I just don't know where Reece Walsh fits. It would not surprise me in the slightest if Cobbo or Coates don't make it, and maybe Reece Walsh ends up on a wing or playing centre or something like that. But currently, I think Walsh probably, I don't know, it's one of those cases where they say for Origin, you pick the best 17 players that are possibly available and then you find them a spot. So if they run on that sort of theory, then Reece Walsh has got to be there somewhere.
Yeah.
If it's a case of picking this guy for number 1 and picking this guy for number 2, etc., then maybe at the moment he's on the outer.
I think the way Plonga played today, he's definitely in that team at fullback. There's no doubt about that. I don't think Walsh will be on the bench because I'll have probably Harry Grant on the bench. You're not going to run 2 utilities. I'm not sure if they're going to play. I don't know, Timmy, about playing him in the wing or the centres. He's good enough. Don't get me wrong. But it's a matter of whether they want to play him out of position. I mean, he's only really played halves and fullback before, hasn't he? Is that right?
Yeah, but I mean, so did Turbo before he played in the centres, and so did Latrell before he It's just one of those things. Like I said, you want to pick your best 17 players and then just find them a spot.
Yeah. Look, I look, you might be there somewhere, but definitely not on the bench though. But I think the way Ponga played today, he's straight back in there, trying 3 tries today. So But I mean, that's of course if he makes himself available too as well. I mean, well, the club makes him available too. They might not want to risk it. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll find out next Sunday or whenever it is. So when we do the pod next week, we should hopefully have the teams by then, and we can go over it all.
The other Penrith player of note that we'll mention is Pat Carrigan. My thoughts go out to the owners there. I'm sorry, the 10 minutes you just got ripped off some points there.
Yeah, what about the Broncos members? Thanks very much. Yeah. That's shocking. And I said in our chat group today, isn't it amazing how much an interpretation of a rule can change over the weekend? Like, that was just ridiculous. So he got sent for 10, and then there was worse tackles than that this weekend that didn't go on report.
I think Paulo, however you want to pronounce it, I think that was a terrible tackle that he did. Going in with the legs like that, that's a no-go zone. That's more dangerous than hip drop. I think he should have at least been binned, and he only got a fine as well. So I'm just finding there's no consistency with the judiciary at the moment. Nothing.
There was another one today. It went on report, but didn't get 10.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I saw that. That was.
And he hit low. He hit low below.
Yeah, same thing. Right under the knee, behind the back of his knees or something as well. Yeah.
Now the Broncos, of course, are playing the Panthers. Cleary continues to be Mr. Consistent again. Whoever you're stuck for a captain's choice, just throw it on him. Sorensen probably got one of the all-time highest scores. It's certainly in the top 10 of the all-time highest scores. 175 at the moment. I think that's where it'll sit. And then 155 to Jerome Luai. Both of them not really relevant Supercoach players, although Sorensen probably. I was having a good look at his stats today. He's 1.1 ppm. Well, I mean, that's bloody good. I mean, he's really been chewing it along if he gets some minutes, and that's always been his problem. So a big shout out to Sorensen. He's certainly, and he's still reasonably priced, although a bit awkward of a price. But if you've got heaps of round 13 numbers, then going into Sorensen to pick up 3 weeks of money probably is not a bad thing, because he is going to climb pretty rapidly now for a few weeks.
I picked him up in 3 drafts a few weeks back when he got the starting position, benched him in 2 of them and played him in 1 of them. And by not playing him in 1 of them, cost me my cashy too, leaving him on the bench. Question, Brad, what do you reckon? Obviously, Liam Martin came back this week off the bench.
Yeah.
Do we see him coming straight back in, and Hoskins is the one missing out surely the way that Sorensen's playing?
But if it was me, I would, I actually, at the beginning of the year, and I had this out with Guy, I don't know if you remember, and he kept saying no. But I actually don't mind Sorensen, even on an edge. I know he's predominantly been used as a middle a lot of the times, but he's very, very solid. He's an 80-minute player, and he'll keep going all day. They've got a gluttony of riches there, I'm not really even sure about Liam Martin's fitness overall yet, so I'm not even sure he'll get picked for Origin. To tell you honest truth, we'll wait and see how he goes this coming week. But Yeah, he didn't really, fill me with hope there watching him on the weekend.
I just want to mention about Tyrone Peachy too. I know I picked him up this week. I know a few others did, but I just saw today or yesterday that Targo's due back round 14. So for those that are thinking of bringing in Peachy next week, I wouldn't do it now. It's probably too late, especially if Targo will come straight back into that team, and Peachy will be straight onto the bench, and it'll be an AE nightmare, basically, I think. So just be aware of that.
No, absolutely. He's definitely one to steer clear of. The next game of the weekend, next weekend. Oh my God! Given the Roosters' form, this looks like a bludger of a game. The Roosters and the Dragons. What can we say about how the Roosters have been going? I mean, it's that. I guess Billy Smith is a shining light. Anybody got any interest in Billy Smith? Scored an 80 this week.
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, I think Manu to Billy Smith's going to be a very popular trade this week.
Yep. Well,
Yeah, I
there's a
think
few.
if you're looking for a downgrade, I think someone like him's a really good candidate. Yeah, I think you can bank the best part of 400K or something, can't you? And from like Manu down to him.
Yeah, about that.
And the old Dragons. Well, you can't trust any of their players at the moment. You can't trust Hook, and you can't trust who he is and not going to play. DeBellin, a shout out there to all the players who got on DeBellin. I actually didn't think it was a good trade because of the inconsistencies and problems there at St. George, but I was proven wrong. Did any of you two get on DeBellin?
No, I was looking at him. Had other fish to fry. I'm pretty happy with my front row and my back row at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, another one who I think he's playing his way into an Origin jumper too. So I would not be jumping on him this week. That's for sure. I'll be waiting until round 13 to see if he's named or not. There's a good chance there. New South Wales are pretty light on for front rowers this year. I mean, Campbell Gillard's out injured. Safidi brothers are out of form. Harson, Polo. I'm just going to say Polo. I don't care. They'll be there, but I just don't know who the others are going to be. Gerbo, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, so
I think the way the impact that Gerbo had after he was left out for round one last year and then came in, I think the difference that he made in that side alone, just on the pressure of the kickers, I think gives him an automatic spot back in the 17 again for this year.
I think you could have them both on the bench. You could probably have them both on the bench because Jack DeBellin they can both play edges or middle, either of them. So
yeah, that's right. They can fill any spot in the forward pack between the two of them.
Yeah.
The next game we'll pass that. As I said, it's only got a few bits of interest there. The St. George Roosters. This next one's got a lot of interest. So Parramatta, and the Rabbitohs. Now the Rabbitohs, look, they only 20-0 over the Tigers. They really didn't. I actually thought the Tigers went pretty well. Roscoe, I'll let you comment on that game if you wish. But Latrell did what he does, 91 points. Campbell Graham, another high 80-odd points. Cam Murray still not setting the world completely on fire, but got a steady 66. What did you think of the game there, Roscoe?
Well, I went to the game and I actually thought the Tigers defended really, really well. I thought they played really well. I think Buller's just an outstanding light in that team at the moment. I thought Papali was really, really good too. There were some good signs there. I'm just concerned about them not scoring points, the Tigers. I mean, I guess it's more about South here. I mean, South were pretty average. I mean, they did put a lot of attack at the Tigers and they defended well. And I think because they defended so much, they just got tired at the end. I mean, it was 8-0 till about 10 minutes to go. So they were in the game, but they were never going to win it. But I'm really proud of the way that they played. I mean, not proud that they didn't score any points, but just the way that they defended. I think any other team that have played South yesterday, a good team, would have probably annihilated them the way that they played. I didn't think they were that great, but yeah, look, I mean, I captain Latrell. Thank goodness he got that junk at the end because it wasn't looking good at all. Campbell Graham just continues to impress, and Tane Milne as well, obviously too. So We got there early and watched New South Wales Cup, and that guy Zach Thompson was playing. He scored a hat trick. He was absolutely unbelievable too. But look, South are on top of the ladder now. They're a top 4 team, and they'll go close this year. But they'll want to play a lot better than that if they're going to go all the way.
And what did you think about their opposition for this coming week, Parramatta? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a lower scoring. I honestly, I can't believe that both teams scored so poorly in Supercoach. I don't know if there's some updates coming or, yeah.
Well, the Parra game already updated. It's only today's games left to update now. So,
okay, yep.
Look, is it Parra Stadium? Is it?
No, I think it's it's at Homebush. I think you'll find. Yeah, it's Rabbitoh's home game.
Look, Parra. I said it in the chat yesterday. They were very flat without Moses. They had no attack. Jake Arthur offers absolutely zero to that team. I think that they would have been better off putting Gutho in the halves or something, and put someone else at fullback. But they definitely missed him. Hopgood was good again again for them, and Maddo was strong as usual. But it's a worry for Parra. It really is. I mean, they're just not playing well at all the last couple of weeks.
With regards to round 13, guys, while we're talking about Parramatta, who have you boys got for round 13, or who do you think are worth having for round 13?
Well, I mean, you don't want to go too heavy with 3 teams on the bye round 14, Newcastle, Manly, and them. I mean, I've got Gutho and Dylan Brown. They're the only 2 I've got now.
What about yourself, Brad?
I'm exactly the same. I've only got Gutho and Brown. That's it.
I've got Moses as well, but the only Knights player I've got is Marju, and then who was the third team on the bye that week?
Garrick. You've got Garrick.
Manly.
And then I've got Garrick. I've got I've got a couple of their forwards as well, like Schuster and Kepi, but I'm not planning on holding them or needing to hold them for 13.
There's no point really on moving them on unless you're upgrading them to a gun.
No, that's right.
It's the best 13 anyway. So if you've got 15 players, it makes no difference. I'd be just hanging on to it if I was you.
It just depends if there's downgrades or an upgrade, like sort of 1 up, 1 down type thing that I can do between now and then.
Well, it's all going to depend on what happens with Farah this week, whether he gets named or not too, right? Or we're just going to wait another week for him.
No, I think, I don't know. If he's available and I've got a trade there, I'll probably go 1 up, 1 down.
Yeah, I'll be waiting on round 13 for him. If he gets named, I'll then do it. But no, not quite yet. So that brings us over to the Saturday's games. Cronulla, the Sharks versus the Knights. Well, both of them won today, but I tell you what, the Knights look far more convincing than what I think the Sharks ended up looking. Both very interesting games there today. Jimmy, did you catch any of this action?
Yeah, I did actually. I watched most of the Knights. Well, actually, I watched most of both games. Look, it's Fafita's 90-metre try. That was an absolute belter. The fact that he's a massive big unit and second row forward, obviously, but he had Lockie Miller chasing him, and Fafita obviously had the ball in hand, which you'd like to think would slow him down, and Lockie Miller wasn't catching him, and he's no slouch on the foot. So, yeah, it was interesting. There was plenty of quick outside backs chasing Fafita down, and they weren't going to catch him.
I got a question. I just want to know if Lachlan Miller's going to get that try assist in updates for the Fafita try.
And who's this question directed to, Roscoe? like we know.
The amount of times I've had a player that throws a cutout pass that cuts out his own teammate, throws it to the other team for a try. Yeah, it'd be great if you get those line break assist, try assists. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
I'm such a fool bag. I was listening to the game in the car because we were coming back from lunch. And I was telling Dave London, I said to him, I was sitting in the car and all I heard was Lachlan Miller kicks and Fafita runs away to score, and I got excited thinking, and then I realised that Miller played for the other team.
That's
Um,
like the epitome of
That
6
was
of
a
one,
that
half
was
a dozen the
that was
other.
a big board moment, that one. Oh my god.
Marzu got a nice 71 for owners. I know there's quite a few owners out there in Supercoach land. Even though Bradman Best clearly wasn't interested in passing to him much today. So that's a bit of a miracle there, I think. But he no, good on Marzu. Anybody else sort of impress you out of the Manly game or the Sharks game there, out of the Sharks, Timmy?
Oh, look, Katoa, I suggested to Roscoe in his pickle this afternoon that for someone under 500K, I'll be looking at Katoa. I'd already mentioned multiple times throughout the week that Manly's left side defence is the worst in the comp. At which point, everyone who's a right-sided winger or a right-sided centre seems to keep scoring tries on that Manly left side. So, yeah, look, it's I think if you're up against Manly in a head-to-head or something, then I'd absolutely be playing whatever wingers or outside backs you've got that are against Manly's left-hand side. So, yeah, look, Britton Nakora scored well, as he has been. Hines an 81, Katoa a 93, even Jesse Ramian 65. So, yeah, look, just anyone in their backline seems to be able to score points on any given day. It was good for non-Ronaldo owners that he scored well below his normal. Would he get a 41? And who was the other one? Teague Wilton of 47. So, yeah, look, they're a bit down on what they have been performing at. Even Reece Kennedy only a 55, but when you balance that out, he's been still doing pretty well.
Did you happen to see that Ramian actually passed the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all got a bit excited at that, didn't we?
I nearly fell off my chair when I saw he passed it to Katoa. All I thought about straight away was you, Brad, thinking Brad owns him. Happy days.
No, I was cheering when I saw that.
He had he was just on fire, Katoa. I think he had 12 tackle busts. I wrote in the article. Like he's just so dangerous. They just don't use him enough. That's the only thing. Like I don't know.
I think that's obviously part of the problem that Ramian's on his inside and the ball's just on him.
Yeah, he's certainly underpriced at the moment for anybody else. I know we're all looking at 13. He doesn't play 13, but that is clearly an underpriced player right there. All right, our next game, Tigers versus the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been getting some wins together. Roscoe, what are you thinking of here? What's?
Oh well, we're about to go from. We've just gone from 2 in a row to 2 losses in a row. I think here. Our record at Leichhardt, I think we're playing Leichhardt too, and our record there's lately's been pretty crap. Can't see us winning, mate, because we can't score any points. That's the problem. I mean, we just can't score points.
Does it highlight it for you when you look at their Supercoach scores that their top Supercoach scores, unlike other teams, aren't any outside backs or in fact anybody in the backs? It's the likes of Isaiah Papali'i and Bateman, etc. And Twal. You know,
Bull is sometimes up there, but
well, there's your top 3 this week: Twal, Bateman, and Papali'i. So that tells you something about what's happening.
Yeah.
Their attacking edges aren't quite doing it. Yeah.
No, it's not there. It's not there at all, Brad. I mean, you know, we beat the Dragons last week. I mean, that's nothing to brag about. We probably should have lost that game, as you know. Like we were there. Panthers, I thought we played a lot better, but those conditions were terrible. So, you know, we scored 14 points against the Premiers, but then we can't score 0 points against these other teams. So, it's a worry. It really is. And I watched that game pretty you know, closely yesterday. I thought Brooks did try hard. He just probably too hard, to be honest with you. Some of the kicks and some of the plays he went for, like it was just like miracle plays that, you know, that weren't there. And like, hats off to the South, they defended well. Like we went close a couple of times, but just not anywhere near it. I'm struggling to see how we're going to get off the bottom of the ladder and not get this spoon, even with the way Dragons are playing. So I think Cowboys by about 30 in this one, unfortunately.
Well, there's not too many Supercoach relevant players in that Tigers, but there is in the Cowboys. Timmy, you're the Queensland resident. Anyone in this Cowboys mob that you sort of got your eyes on or thinking about?
Yeah, there is, but just going back to the Tigers, any interest in IPAP? 587K, had a break even of 76 this week. I think he scored a 66 or 65. So he might drop a couple of bucks, but that's about it. He's obviously not hitting the heights that he was last season or the last couple of seasons, but we obviously know that he's the player that can do it. Is it just a case of the Tigers are rubbish and can't get the quality ball to him that he's had in the past? He's playing on the right side now, whereas he used to play on the left side. Is that making a difference? I'm not really sure. But, yeah, look, he's a guy that I'm keeping a bit of an eye on. If he does drop a little bit further, I think he's probably worth a punt and hope that the Tigers can actually start to come through. I haven't checked their draw yet, but it'd be one that I certainly look at this week. As you guys know, I like to keep 5 or 6 rounds ahead and have a bit of a look at players coming through. So here's one I'm certainly keeping an eye on. As far as the Cowboys go, obviously Heelam Lukey this week with 121, Val from a 92, Kyle Felt, who guys held on to for a while with an 84, Drinky 75, Tommy Dearden 73. There was a bit of chat on the news tonight about Tom Dearden still trying to put his hand up for Queensland. I mean, I don't know who they think he's going to replace. If you've got Munster's there at 6, DCE at 7. Benny Hunt's going to play 9 and Harry Grant off the bench. So I don't know what universe Tom Dearden fits in there anywhere, but he's probably two or 3 injuries behind, I'd imagine, because I think next one would be KP at 6 and then play Walsh at 1. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. The next game I think is the Storm and the Dolphins. Look, obviously the Dolphins are coming off the back of their bye. The Dolphins are at home at Suncorp, where they're proven to be, quite useful up there at Suncorp. The Melbourne Storm aren't really that bye relevant. Well, they're not bye relevant at the moment. So, I own Harry Grant. He's just going along quite nicely, just steady as he goes. If you own Katoa, well, he got 72 this week, but round 13, he certainly should be a sell for you. So I'm not really sure what to think about there, but there is a bit to think about with your Dolphins players. There's a few interesting ones, obviously, there. There's the big fella. Is he going to get named? Do we jump on him? Roscoe, you going to be jumping ship onto the young centre if he gets named?
No, I'm going to wait a week. I mean, as I said earlier, I need to start conserving some trades. And I've got some pretty good numbers already for 13. So I'm going to wait a week and see what happens. And I'll probably jump on him for round 13.
Yep. Any other Dolphins there? You sort of got your eyes half
Well,
on?
I've still got JMK. I've still got Hammer. And I've still got Katoa as well. So, they obviously other than Faray, the only other one that I was keeping an eye on, but he's getting too expensive is Timmy's mate, Lumi. Yeah, but he's probably a bit expensive. I mean, other than that, I think I'm just going to run with what I've got. I mean, I've already got 4 if I get Faray. They've got another bye coming up after round 13 too, so I don't want to go too heavy. Because it cost me this week because I was struggling to fill a team this week with all the outs.
Yep. Anyone you like there in your homeland, Timmy, up in there in the Dolphins?
Well, not so much looking at the Dolphins, but with the Storm, I know you just said look at selling Ali Katoa. He's actually one that I'm keeping an eye on to bring in if he drops any further. He's the next 6 games are Broncos, Dolphins, Cowboys, Sharks, Tigers, Manly. I mean, it's a pretty decent draw as far as the Storm fan goes. So they've got the bye in 13. And then the bye in 13, the bye in 19. So that's the only tough part that they're going to miss 2 of the big bye rounds. But look, we all know how many points he can score. But he's been on a bit of a slight decline. So he's now back down to 487, which is only just more expensive than what it was that he started with. He didn't hit his BE this week, so he's actually going to lose a bit more coin. But look, I'd be keeping an eye on that one there and maybe look at bringing him back in.
Yeah, very good.
As far as the Dolphins go, Yeah, look, I'm big on Jeremy Marshall King. He's basically been potting along, much the same as what Harry Grant has. And everyone kept saying, "Oh no, get rid of JMK and bring Grant in." I figured it was just a wasted trade, basically. Not to mention that Harry Grant will obviously go off on Origin duties, and who knows what's going to happen with that, whether he backs up or with the minutes that he's going to get. So who knows? So look, a lot of people were trying to tell me online to drop JMK and bring Harry in this week. I just kind of felt it was a bit of a wasted trade for the sake of one round.
Very good. Now, the next game, talk about cheapies that we've just sort of been speaking about there. The next game's got the Bulldogs versus the Titans. We'll get to the Titans in a minute, but the Bulldogs, it screams cheapy, doesn't he? Harrison, Edwards. Do we do it or do we not?
Geez, it'd be good to know his job security. I mean, they did a last-minute switch when the teams came out an hour before and dropped Farron Manor back to the bench and started Edwards. But you'd have to think the way Edwards played on the weekend, he's probably going to stay in that team. But I mean, I think it was only his third game too. I think.
Yeah, that's what I was
well. So he's going to go up a bit already. I don't know what his break even was and how much he's going to go up, but
-18 was his break even for this round.
He got a 94, so he's probably going up to about 60, 70, 80K or something, is he? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think if you wanted it, it's a cash grab. Like I've probably got to look at dumping Christian Welch because obviously he'll play Origin. So it may be a case of I could drop Welch to Harris and probably bank a couple of 100K and go from there. But even if it was a 2 or 3 round play, you're probably safe to say he'll make 100 or 150. He's going to have a very high negative break even next week. So he's probably destined to make 100K next week as soon as he walks on the field.
Well, now that Peach is going to get dual position after this round, I've just had a look at my team now, so I can either trade out Almoni or Heimel Hunt and move Peachy down to the centres to bring Edwards in. So that could also work too, as well.
He's front row only.
Is it Edwards front row?
Yeah, Harrison Edwards, front row only.
I've got Mawali and Palacia there, so as my backup. So I'm hoping they're both going to play round 13. So might have to wait on that trade and see what happens first with those two.
Burton put up a 76 this week, but there's a bit of talk that he still might come in a Origin contention. I certainly think he'll be in the extended squad. Whether he makes the actual squad, we don't know. And really, Preston, is his time up. 50 points this week. What are we thinking? I've still got him. I'm thinking he's a sell.
Jeez, I mean, it's a hard one, isn't it? I mean, his scores are inflated by tries last week, 2 tries magic round, but he's still averaging 61. He had a break even of 39, so he's going to make more cash. So if you are going to move him on, it's probably the week to do it next week, to be honest with you, before he starts to leak too much cash. So I'll just have a quick look at their draw. So they've got Warriors, Titans, and Roosters the next 3 games, and obviously they've got the bye round 13. So probably right, Brad. He's probably close to a sell.
Yeah, he's getting now. Their opposition is the Titans. I think we quite a few of us here. We all watched the game today. Campiera just keeps on getting it done. He is not a sell at the moment, that's for sure.
No, I wish I had jumped off him so early, but I'm pretty happy with who I traded him to, so I'm not going to complain.
It's interesting with this round. When I was looking at trades, my plan was always to keep him, but I was looking at trading Taruva and Warbrick out, and I'm glad in the end that I didn't. But I think Campiera seems to be the pick of the 3 of them at the moment. So yeah, I'd definitely be holding. I think his last 3 scores have been near the 70s.
Yeah, I traded him with Campbell Graham, so no regrets for me.
Absolutely.
Now, I know quite a few people have him, but Tanner Boyd keeps proving to be the absolute spud of the year. Just about 35 points from a full game. He really does not have a Supercoach friendly game at all. I don't know why anybody would be holding on to him, but I know he does have a bit of ownership still out there. Any thoughts on him?
Well, I mean, I thought he was a sell a long time ago, but I'm still seeing him in teams. I don't know. I mean, who do you move him on to unless you've got the cash to upgrade him to someone else?
That young fella from the Bulldogs, is he going to get a starting spot soon, you think?
Oh, God, what are they going to do? I mean, they've given, look, one thing I'm going to say is he's had a fair few opportunities, right? He hasn't played a full 80 minutes yet. He's had opportunities, obviously, and then he starts off the bench and Reynolds comes on, and then Reynolds goes off, Reynolds goes off, he comes on, and then he goes off at the end. But I don't know, I haven't really seen a lot there to make me go, yes, I want to see a couple of weeks of him starting first before I actually made that decision.
Yeah.
We're talking about Oluwapu.
Yeah.
Hey, just going back to Camperera. So his BE this week was a 7. He obviously knocked out 70. So he's going to go up 50 odd K this week, which and I dare say the following week he'll have another rather large negative BE. So he's currently 482. Over the next 2 rounds, he could probably be up near 600K, which starts to make it interesting as to whether or not he is a sell to one of the other big guns. But for the moment, I think while he's scoring a try a week, I think he's a hold.
Well, I'm with you, Tim. I think, you got all your Origin players come back round 19. It could be a good upgrade back to a Val or anyone around there, and probably get change out of it too.
Yeah, and it'd be a good bridge up to players like Campbell Graham, Ronaldo, those sorts of boys.
Absolutely.
If you had a choice between either holding Val or Camperera, which one would you trade?
I think it's no brainer. Just the fact that how Val will play Origin. That's the only way I see it. I mean, the way Camperera is scoring when Val gets back after Origin, he may be worth more money than him then. So I think he's selling Val Holmes.
The only thing that would make you question it is if Fafita, by all accounts, you'd like to think he'll be playing for Queensland this year. But obviously Camperera plays outside of Fafita, which I think is quite enticing as well. I think that certainly adds to Camperera's scoring ability, in that when obviously if Fafita's running at the defensive line, you've got 2 or 3 guys go to tackle Fafita and leave AKP out on the wing on his own. So I think he probably does score a few points just with that in mind, that particular play, I guess. So whether or not he scores as well while Origin's on, I don't know. It's a bit of a tough one. I think it will just completely depend on his BE. Like if he gets to something crazy where he's a 80 or 90 BE, I think I'd be looking at selling.
Talking about Origin, do we think Hammer's going to play Origin?
No. Not unless there's mass injuries. I mean, I would think regardless of whatever position, I think Reece Walsh is next for an outside back spot. If someone goes down, I think they'd just put him in somewhere.
So you've got Gagai, you've got Val, you've got Tuolangi, and you've got Reece Walsh. Is that what you reckon's the back line?
With Cobbo and Coates will be the 2 wingers.
Oh yeah.
Gagai will be 1 centre, and Mental Block, whoever you just said the other one was.
Tuolangi.
No.
Val punch.
Oh, Val's one. Yeah. I think the Hammer's a long way down.
All right, the last game of the round features Canberra up against my lot, the mighty Manly Sea Eagles. Probably shouldn't call them mighty, should I? Yeah, stop your laughing, Roscoe.
What the Tigers?
Hudson Young, he's probably knocking on the door of an Origin spot, maybe. He's one that got away from me. I never got him. Probably should have at some stage, but I never, particularly early in the season, could trust Ricky's forward roulette with minutes.
Who's Hudson Young actually played for? North or South?
He's Queensland, I think, isn't he? Well, no, he's New South Wales.
He's New South Wales.
Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with Horsburgh. Horsburgh's Queensland.
Yeah, the horses, Queenslander. I didn't know where Hudson Young is, but like heaps of people over the weekend were talking him up for a New South Wales jersey. Look, I don't even know what state he plays for, let alone whose spot he'd be taken in either team.
I think he'll be in the squad, but I don't think he plays. I think Olakawadu is probably ahead of him. I don't know. I mean, Hudson Young's playing pretty well, but Olakawadu probably deserves to be there this year. But who knows what Freddie's going to do? We've got no idea.
Yeah, he could bring in Crichton yet. Who knows?
Oh, you'd think Angus, obviously the Koala's injured at the moment, but Kaloa Matangi would be in there next, and
He would have been in there if he wasn't injured, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think Angus would be the next one in line.
Yeah, well, Hudson Young topped the scoring there with 78 points at any rate, and he has been going very well, scoring a try about one every 2 games, I think, is about his average at the moment. The horse, he got 49 points, but remember, there's a sin binning in there, right? So that's a drop of at least 30-odd points because there's 10 minutes where he's not playing and he would have been, plus a negative for his sin binning.
I think didn't they take him off at the end too, Brad? I'm pretty sure he got taken off towards the end of the game
they did.
too.
Yeah, they gave one of the young forwards a run.
Yeah.
He went off at about the 75th minute. So his scores are a bit down because of that. Now Canberra do play round 13. Apart from a couple of forwards, has anybody got any sort of ideas or likes in this team?
Jared Croker would be the only other. I mean, I think Croker's the only real one. Tomoko, if you got on him early enough, but I think now that ship has sailed, he's too expensive. That's about it as far as their backs go.
Yeah,
I got shocked with Tomoko. He's like about 750.
He's expensive now.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Yeah, very expensive.
654K had a break even of 3, so he's going to go up another 50K this week. It'll be 700K for next round.
Yeah.
I mean, Hudson Young was obviously one. Horsburgh was another one. So I tell you what, if they both get picked for Origin, though, there's going to be some minutes there for surely Tarpany plays some extra minutes, won't he? Like with those two out. I mean, he's only averaging 45, 50 minutes at the moment. And then I guess I don't know who's going to come in to replace them in the starting team. They're going to be a bit light on for round 13 in the forwards.
Yeah. But I mean, how many of them can get picked? Because they're not going to take Horse and Josh Papali. I can't see that happening out of the Raiders.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Papali. If they're going to pick him or not.
If he's not picked, I think I'd be all over Papali for round 13.
Surely he gets picked, doesn't he?
I think he gets a bench spot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he's a definite in. I think Tapane is a very good shout out though. I might actually have to have a look at his price this week just to see what's happening there. Now Manly also their opposition for this coming round play round 13. I've got Garrick, but I really can't see myself getting anybody else in the team at the moment. Although there is some argument, if you don't have a fullback, to get Turbo, if Turbo doesn't get selected, obviously. But, yeah. Any likes for Manly at all?
No. I'm going to be honest with you, no. There's no one else there. I mean, the sub's quite cheap, and I wouldn't even go there, even if it was 200K at this rate, because you're just not getting any ball. Olaquadu, definitely, if he doesn't get picked for Origin, for sure. No doubt about that. But other than that, no one else there for me. I mean, DC will play Origin. So you'd have to think Schuster comes back into that team, as long as he's fit and ready to go and he's not in and out like usual. But no, not anyone else for Manly for me.
I think Lockie Croker, if you're looking for a really out there pod as a hooker, I think I brought him up last week on the show. In past seasons, he's actually been, especially last year, he's actually scored really well. But yeah, it just seems to be a little bit under this year. I'm not convinced he's getting the minutes that he was. He scored a try today with a 69. I think he'll probably go up a couple of points, but that'll be about it. But yeah, look, he's one that maybe if you get him at the right time at the right price. But I think that's about it for Manly.
All right. Well, that's about all. That's the games all coming up next round, and we've had a bit of a look back at the scores that have been popping out this week. What sort of trades are we looking at, guys?
At the moment, nothing. No trades for me at the moment.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I'm really starting to question if it's time to cut Teddy and Manu, one or the other or both. I've got plenty of dual positions right throughout my whole team. So the cash that I could get from those guys, even though I've lost a bit of cash, but the cash I could get from those guys go one up, one down, and basically bring in anyone in the comp. So it's an interesting one. That it's always that fear that you know that if you sell them this week, Roosters will put 50 points on someone. But at the moment, they're not looking anything like the team that they have been for the last 10 or 15 years.
They got the team on paper to win a comp, and they just haven't shown it. Just on Manu, have we heard anything on that? Like, NRL Physio posted anything about his injury?
I've heard
I haven't seen anything yet. No.
Nothing. Because he gets dual position this round too, so it'd be a bugger for those who've got him. You know, if they have to sell him when he gets dual position because he misses a few weeks.
I was really keen on keeping him for that. Selling Izzy Katoa from the Dolphins and moving Manu up into 5'8", and then bringing someone like Campbell Graham and then obviously having Manu there for backup if there was ever an injury late in the season. So yeah, I don't know, but it's a bit of a tough one now. I think he's about to hemorrhage a whole crap load of cash, and just means it a little bit hard to keep.
All right. So yeah, myself, and you'll see this. This week's little PPM Madness article, it'll go up. It'll be all about why this week is a week not to trade. And I think judging from the discussion so far with all three of us, it's probably sounding like a week not to trade. There's an awful lot of players out there that possibly look like you could trade, but there's good reasons why you shouldn't be trading at the moment. These range from Tuava to even people still going Cleary, you're just crazy. And I'll explain why in that article. So, yeah, I won't be trading probably this week. I'll be saving a trade. I think I'm pretty well set up. Any vice captains? Have we had a look yet?
Oh, God, no, I haven't even looked at that yet. You like to put us on the spot, Brad.
Well, I'll start it off. I'll start off there. I'm thinking about probably getting a bit loose, going a vice captain of Hines. Okay, it's not really loose at all, is it? And maybe captaining for feeder against the Bulldogs. If Hines doesn't go very good.
I'm actually going to go. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to VC Latrell against Parramatta, and I'm going to captain for feeder because, I mean, he's just the form he's in. How could you go past him? I mean, Sharks have got Newcastle at home. Oh, sorry, it's that game as well, by the way.
Yep.
You're going that one, Brad?
Oh, I certainly am. I've got my tickets. So I'm going to be there. Yep.
I'm sure it's already sold out a few weeks ago too. So
I think it is sold out. Yeah.
Look, Hines is obviously an option there, but I think I'll just stick with Trell into Fafita.
Yeah.
I think I like Brad's. I think Nico into Big Fifi is probably not a bad shout.
All right, now for all those on socials that have been following us along, and do spread the word about our group page here on Facebook, or follow us on YouTube, and listen to us also on Spotify. Of course, we've got lots of content up there. But those that do follow us, we've been doing some charity bets through our great sponsor. Roscoe, you want to fill us in on...
Thank you to our sponsors, Bluebet too, by the way. I managed to nab this at Magic Round last week. So, So basically, Bluebet are been kind enough to donate some betting money for us every single week for the boys to put a multi on, and we managed to jug a little one this week, so something's better than nothing. So Timmy had Marzu anytime, and I had Fafita anytime, and I think we won about $50 or whatever it is. So well done, guys. I mean, that's the first win that'll get donated to a charity. Might look at the Children's Hospital or something like that for the first donation. So yeah, thank you to Brett at Sports, Bluebet, nearly did it again, for donating it, and yeah, so thanks for jumping on board as our sponsors as well. We really appreciate it. We really do. So thank you to Bluebet.
Yeah, many thanks to Bluebet, and don't forget, bet responsibly.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, guys, if you are a member of our site, make sure you do add them if you're into that sort of stuff, and use their app and let them know that you're one of our listeners, and they certainly look after you.
And if you want to make a deposit, let me know, and we'll get you sorted out.
Yeah, because I think if you do make a deposit, they match that deposit with a bunch of huge amount of bonus bets once they know that you're part of our little group. So, don't forget to check that out. And don't bet over your head, bet under it.
Bet with your head not over it. Bet with your head not over it.
Something like that. I don't know. You know all about that than me, Roscoe. You're the punter.
Yep. Look after Bluebet.
Yes.
All right, boys. We got anything else we wish to add?
No,
that's about it. All I can say is, like we said earlier, the suspensions and stuff. It's nearly at a point where it's starting to wreck some of the games. I've got no doubt that some of the decisions are definitely changing the outcome of some of the games, or have the potential to change the outcome of some of the games. So it'd be nice if just the referees can pull their heads in and stay out of it a little.
Yeah. Just one last thing. We'll be back on Tuesday night for our TLT pod with Timmy if he's going to be on, but we've also got a guest coming on too, which I haven't told the boys about yet. But we've got Billy who does the pod with Barnsey with the All Stars pod coming on for a bit of a change up. So he's going to join us on Tuesday night for that. So be good to have him on, and yeah, we'll change it up a bit and get some other guests on the next few weeks.
Yeah, so, a shout out to Clementine. She said she was going to come on, and we haven't been able to organise it yet. So
we'll make it happen.
Hopefully, Clem will come on, and we can give her a hard time on this pod. Yeah, Timmy, you were going to say?
No, don't remember. Oh, good, not a problem. I'm sure Billy will just give me a hard time because I didn't score really well this week, and I'm in. It's like a separate Podmasters comp type thing that some of us are in, and yeah, I'm in Billy's team, so I probably didn't help our team out there very well this week, but I will be trying my best to take the captaincy for our team in round 13 because I'm looking pretty good for it.
Right, what's your team? What's your little league called that you're in? What are yours called?
If that was Billy, do you mean?
Yeah.
We're called the Ball Sacks.
All right, we're moist. So
moist. So yeah, it's an interesting comp, that's for sure. Some definite interesting chat goes on in some of those groups.
Oh, geez, that's really appropriate. That is. That's about as appropriate as doing a Nazi salute in public.
That is classy as doing a P in public while you're on a live broadcast too.
Oh, dear. All right. That's it for us, everybody. Many thanks. I hope you all had a good score this week, and good luck and have fun. Super.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck for this week.
Stay safe.